Shalom, and welcome to Hebrew Bible Secrets with your host, Rabbi Beaton. We are reading today from the book of John, starting at chapter 5. John, chapter 5, verse 1. 1. After this, there was a moed, a celebration of the Yehudim, and Yeshua went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Beth Cheesed, Beth Esdah, having 5 porches. 3. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, lame, withered, waiting for the moving of the mayim, the water. 4. For a malak went down at a certain season into the pool, and stirred the mayim, the water. Whosoever then, first after the stirring of the mayim, the water, stepped in, was made whole of whatever disease he had. 5. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. 6. When Yeshua saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said to him, Do you want to be made whole? 7. The sick man answered him, Master, Adon, Lord, I have no man when the mayim is troubled to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, another steps down before me. 8. Yeshua said to him, Rise, take up your mat and walk. 9. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his mat and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. 10. The Yehudim therefore said to him that was cured, It is the Sabbath day. It is not lawful for you to carry your mat. 11. He answered them, He that made me whole, the same said to me, Take up your mat and walk. 12. Then they asked him, What man is that which said to you, Take up your mat and walk? 13. And he that was healed did not know who it was, for Yeshua had slipped away a multitude, being in that place. 14. Afterward Yeshua saw him in the Beth Hamikdash temple, and said to him, Behold, you are made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come to you. 15. The man departed and told the Yehudim that it was Yeshua, which had made him whole. 16. And therefore did the Yehudim persecute Yeshua, because he had done these things on the Sabbath day. 17. But Yeshua answered them, My Av has been working until now, and I work too. 18. Therefore the Yehudim sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that Elohim was his Av, making him equal with Elohim. 19. Then answered Yeshua and said to them, Verily, verily, I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Av do. For what things he does, these also does the Son likewise. 20. For the Av loves the Son, and showed him all things that he does, and he will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. 21. For as the Av raises up the dead, and quickens them, even so the Son quickens whom he will. 22. For the Av judges no man, but has committed all judgment to the Son. 23. That all men should respect the Son, even as they respect the Av. He that honours not the Son honours not the Av, which has sent him. 24. Verily, verily, I say to you, he that hears my word and believes on him that sent me has everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death to life. 25. Verily, verily, I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and they that hear shall live. 26. For as the Ab has life in himself, so has he given to the Son to have life in himself. 27. And has given him authority to execute judgment, also because he is the Son of Man. 28. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in which all that are in the tombs shall hear his voice. 29. And shall come forth, they that have done good, to the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil, to the resurrection of damnation. 30. I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Ab which has sent me. 31. If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. 32. There is another that bears witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnesses of me is true. 33. You sent to Yehochanan, John, and he bare witness to the truth. 34. But I receive no testimony from man, but these things I say, that you might be rescued. 35. He was a burning and a shining light, and you were willing for a season to rejoice in his light. 36. But I have greater witness than that of Yehochanan, John, for the works which the Ab has given me to finish, the same works that I do, bear witness of me, that the Ab has sent me. 37. And the Ab himself, which has sent me, has borne witness of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape. 38. And you do not have his word abiding in you. For whom he has sent, him you believe not. 39. Search the scrolls, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. 40. And you will not come to me, that you might have life. 41. I receive no respect from men. 42. But I know you, that you have not the obedience of Elohim in you. 43. I have come in my Ab's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. 44. How can you believe which receive respect of another, and seek not the respect that comes from Elohim only? 45. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Ab. There is one that accuses you, even Moshe, Musa, in whom you trust. 46. For had you believed Moshe, Musa, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. 47. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? So that now brings us to the end of chapter 5 of John. So let's go back and have a look at some of the footnotes in chapter 5 of John. So the first footnote we have is in verse 1. After this, there was a Moed, celebration of the Yehudim. So let's have a look at this celebration of the Yehudim. So we have here, this mystery Chag celebration is the Chag celebration of tabernacles. Okay? So let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 2. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Beth Cheese. So let's have a look at this. Beth Cheese means house of mercy, okay? And it's spelt Chesed, Okay, so we also had by that Beth Esther. So let's have a look at this. It's another footnote. So some scholars conjecture this to be Beth Zatha. So spelled Bethzatha. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is a continuation, having 5 porches. So let's have a look at this. So 5 porches, the 5 books of Moses, revealing Yahweh's mercy and truth. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 4. For a malak went down at a certain season into the pool. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So believed to be a malak who came annually to stir the waters. So a malak who came annually to stir the waters for people to be healed. Malak also meaning angel. Okay, so the next footnote is in verse 16. And therefore did the Yehudim persecute Yahushua. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So manuscripts missing these words and sought to slay him. By adding such words, it is clear why the hatred was developed for the Hebrew nation of Israel over the years by the anti-Semitic fathers of Christianity and others today. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 17. But Yahushua answered them, my Av has been working until now, and I work too. So let's have a look at this, I work too. So this is not a negation of the Sabbath, but in fact an affirmation of it. Why is the Abba working even until now? To bring the people into the ultimate Sabbath rest, the millennial kingdom. Hebrews 4 and 8, which is one aspect of the Sabbath rest that many will not enter for being disobedient in Christianity. Okay, so Hebrews 4 and 8, so let's have a look at Hebrews 4 and 8 quickly. So we have here, for if Yahushua the son of Nun had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? So let's have a look at this. So we have footnote for the son of Nun. So we have here, in the original copies of the manuscript, there was a mistake here for the name Yahushua, Joshua, who was the son of Nun, but the later translators had put Jesus, which shows us that the true name for the Messiah was not Jesus, nor Yeshua, spelled Y-E-S-H-U-A, but the full form Yahushua, spelled Y-A-H-U-S-H-U-A. So a mistake in the manuscripts helped us to validate his name. Okay, so we have another footnote. So afterwards have spoken of another day. So let's have a look at this, another day. So the Sabbath is eternal, and here it speaks of the greater Sabbath, which is the millennial reign under the Messiah. Disobedient Christians will not see the millennial rest because the same Torah applies to them and finds them guilty of sin. The consequence is they will not be raised in the first resurrection and may never enter the land. Only those qualify for discipleship, the ones that obey Torah. So only those who qualify for discipleship are the ones that obey Torah and the commandments. Okay? So let's go to the next footnote. which is in verse 18. Therefore the Yehudim sought them all to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath. So let's have a look at this. Not only had broken the Sabbath. So Yeshua never broke the Sabbath, but according to some rabbinic traditions, people were not allowed to heal, hence why they thought he may have broken the Sabbath, but he did not. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is a continuation. It said also that Elohim was his Av, his father, making him equal with Elohim. So let's have a look at this. So the Jewish people understood that Yeshua called himself equal with Abba Yahweh. This was blasphemous to them. However, he was Yahweh revealed in the flesh, and many could not accept this fact. This is the same person who visited Abraham in Genesis 18. Okay, so he was Abba Yahweh in the flesh. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 24. Verily, verily, I say to you, he that hears. Okay, so let's have a look at this. He that hears. So he is given a call for obedience to the Shema, which says, Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our Supreme One, Yahweh is Akkad. Okay. So let's go to the next footnote, which is a continuation. So he that hears my word. So let's have a look at this. His word here means Torah obedience. Okay, so keeping the commandments, keeping the feast days, keeping the Sabbath, paying tithes and Zedekah. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is another continuation. And believes on him that sent me. Okay, so believes on him. Let's have a look at this. So if you do not believe on the Abba's Torah, then why would you believe in his son? Just moving the mouth is not enough. Real obedience is also needed, and words without actions are meaningless. That is what he is saying. He also shows us something about the Hebrew nation of Israel. They are not all lost, as many have been taught. They believe on him that sent him. They had to believe on him, but their time was not yet in Scripture. And prophetically, the Yehudim were to wait, but the unbelieving ones will be resurrected and given a chance. Please see our Hidden Truth of Great Scrolls, Ezekiel 37, and Matthew 25:40. So let's have a look at Matthew 25:40 quickly. So Matthew 25:40, and it reads, And the king shall answer and say to them, Verily I say to you, inasmuch as you have done it to one of the least of these, my Hebrew brothers, you have done it to me. Okay, so let's have a look at, we've got a footnote here, so let's have a look at this. So, to one of the least of these, my Hebrew brothers. So let's have a look at this. So we have here, the brothers of Yeshua were Yehuda, who were black, Benjamin, who were black also, alongside the 10 tribes who were also black, who were persecuted, and on that account of the 70 nations, the Gentile Christians, the Muslims, the Ashkenazim, the Sephardim, or Sephardi, are being judged and thrown into Sheol, hell, because they did not treat them right when they made the true black Hebrew slaves. These were the ones who were naked, hungry, and no one went to feed them. But the few that did feed them were being rewarded. The ones who would be feeding them would ultimately be their own brethren, and some good Gentiles who were engrafted into Israel. Okay? So that section there was talking about all the nations that mistreated the children of Israel. So you're talking about the Christians, the Muslims, the Ashkenazim, Sephardi will be judged at some point for this. Okay? Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 25. Verily, verily, I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and they that hear shall live. Okay, so let's have a look at this. They that hear shall live. The prophecy was fulfilled partially when the dead rose at the execution tree of Yahushua. He was talking about Ezekiel 37, when he will literally raise up the sons of the house of Israel, and they will be given full chance to walk in obedience. Please see the Hidden Truth Complete Edition. Ezekiel 37. So, the Hidden Truth of Brit Scrolls, if you haven't bought it yet, please go to Amazon, where you'll find it under Rabbi Simon Altaf. Okay? So let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 29. And shall come forth they that have done good to the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil to the resurrection of damnation. Okay, so let's have a look at this, damnation. So he shows us two resurrections. One in the millennial kingdom, the reference good, is for those who were his disciples, both men and women who obeyed Torah, best to their ability and knowledge, while the other one is for all. The second resurrection does not send everyone into the lake of fire, because many are saved in the second resurrection too. They were simply not fit to enter the first due to disobedience. Okay? So obedience, is everything. So, those who are obeying the Torah, keeping the commandments, will enter. So let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 38. And you do not have his word. So let's have a look at this. So we have here the term, his word, is the idiomatic expression for the Torah of Moses. Okay? So the Torah being obviously the commandments, first 5 books, which is the commandments. So that's what it means to have the word, to keep the commandments. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 39. Search the scrolls, for in them you think you have eternal life. Okay, so let's have a look. Search the scrolls. So scriptures at the time of Yahushua were the Torah, the prophets, and the Psalms. There was no New Testament written as yet. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 43. I have come in my Ab's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. So let's have a look at this, in his own name. So we have here, this prophecy became true when Shimon bar Kosiva was received as Messiah and rubber stamped by Rabbi Akiva in 132 CE, and held as the Messiah and given the title Bar Kokhba in regards to Numbers 24:17, son of a star. This proved to be a mistake, of course, but many people lost their lives in the revolt when the Roman armies crushed the revolt. This revolt started when Hadrian, who was a homosexual, had banned Torah circumcision. Historia Augusta Hadrian 14.2. He started to put the statues of his male lover Antius, who died by drowning in the river Nile, and Hadrian started to put his statues up to worship and deify him as an act of idolatry. He also built a temple to Jupiter in place of the Jerusalem temple, which caused a fury with the Jewish people. Bar Koziva minted his own coins, and he did not, as far as we know, claim to hail to be the Messiah himself. But some rabbis around him did hail him as the Messiah. Again, it would be wrong to say he was hailed as the Messiah, but could just be seen as a rescuer at a time of Jewish persecution. Bar Koziva was not the Messiah. Okay? So let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 25. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Av. There is one that accuses you, even Moshe, Musa, in whom you trust. Okay, Moshe, Musa, so let's have a look at this. So the 5 books of Torah will convict people of their sin and their disobedience on the day of reckoning. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 46. For had you believed Moshe, Musa, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. So let's have a look at this, for he. So Moses wrote in many places about the Messiah. The Messiah was mentioned in Genesis 1:1, Genesis 3:15, Numbers 21:9, Numbers 24:17, and Deuteronomy 18:18, to name a few places. Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of these. Let's have a look at Numbers 24:17. So Numbers 24:17, and it reads, I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not near. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Seth. Okay, so we have a couple of footnotes here. So there shall come a star. So let's have a look at this. So the star of King Messiah to come in the future. Okay. So this is Balaam speaking, by the way. So we have another footnote here, which is a continuation. Shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter, okay, shall rise out of Israel. So let's have a look at this, a scepter. So we have here the prophecy of King Messiah to smite and destroy all nations Islamic who are against Israel. Okay. So we have another footnote, which is a continuation. And shall rise out of Israel and shall smite the corners of Moab and destroy all the children of Seth. Okay, so let's have a look at this, children of Seth. So see my article on the sons of Seth. These are radical Islamists who will be removed at the end of days by the Battle of Armageddon. The future Messiah is mentioned as a star, a kokab, meaning he is also described as a scepter, a king. The corners or mouth of the nations that will be battered around Israel are the nations such as Jordan, Egypt, Syria, and Lebanon, who will have a marked destruction at the time of the end, when the King of Kings will batter them. The idea presented in Widabar, Numbers 24:17, in the ancient Hebrew reveals the following. A king will rise out of the 12 tribes of Israel. In other words, Yehudah, Bereshith, Genesis 49:10, will give us this king. This king was set to come at a distant future, when the time when the prophecy was spoken. How can a king batter the brow of Moab when Moab was not yet a full force to deal with at that time? And also the Messiah would not come during Balaam's time. Balaam's language is like hide and seek. 1 minute I see him and then not, etc. And then he spoke about the future destruction of the sons of Seth, which are the radical Islamists and the Edomite political Zionists for occupiers. The term Seth illustrates the occupation of the land of Israel. Okay? So that was Numbers 24:17. So let's have a look at also Deuteronomy 18:18 quickly. So Deuteronomy 18:18, and it reads, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren like you, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I shall command him. Okay, so we have a couple of footnotes here. I will raise them up a prophet. So let's have a look at this. This was not Muhammad, as the Muslims claim. See Islam, Peace or Beast, written by Rabbi Saminata, which you can buy on Amazon. Okay. So the next footnote we have, brethren like you. So brethren, so we have a footnote for brethren. The prophet, the Hebrew word is Navi, N-A-V-I, and not Ha-Navi, H-A-N-A-V-I. So it's not relating to a singular figure, but to all future prophets of Israel who would speak the words of Yahweh and be Yahweh's mouthpiece, so to speak, and do miracles likewise. See Isaiah 59:21 and Jeremiah 1:9. The term here is related to establishing the office of a prophet, as to who can be a prophet and who cannot. In Deuteronomy 18, Israel was being warned not to indulge in black magic, sorcery, mediums for their answers to prayers, but look to the guidance of the prophets. Jesus, Yahushua, could fit the prophet spoken of in Deuteronomy 18:15. Okay? So it's talking about the office of prophethood. Okay? Who could fit in the office of prophethood. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote. Which is in verse 47. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Okay, so let's have a look at this. So many in Christendom refuse to believe Moses and obey the books that he wrote and continue to live in rebellion, claiming to live on 2 royal commandments, while the 2 royal commandments are only a summary of the whole, permitting the people to live by the whole Torah. Okay, so that now brings us to the end of John chapter 5, and I thank you for watching. This is Rabbi Beaton saying thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. Shalom, shalom. Baruch Shem, Kivod, Malkuto, Leolam Va'ed. Benevolent be the name of his esteemed kingdom, forever and ever and ever. Amen.